All right, I've got a question for you. How would somebody introduce you if you went on a podcast? You know how podcast hosts are always introducing their guest based on their accomplishments or their resume, and they're basically trying to tell their audience, hey, this person has credibility. You should listen to this person. They deserve your respect. Well, what would somebody say about you if you went on a podcast? What accomplishments do you have? What credibility do you have? Well, for most of you, you probably drew a blank when I asked this question, and that's the problem. You see, 99% of men haven't done anything impressive with their lives. They went to a community college or some basic college, they half-assed some basic-ass degree, they get a girl pregnant, they're out of shape, they make mediocre money, and they don't have any passion for the career, they're not working hard in it really. And this is kind of their lives. There's nothing impressive about them. They haven't done anything. And this makes them boring, unattractive, and irrelevant. This video is going to show you how to be the most interesting person in the room and stand out over 99% of men. And you do this by using something I call the fruit salad effect. So something you need to understand is that women are judged on beauty, men are judged on what they've done, right? You see a woman, she's attractive, that's enough. For men, we look at them, it's like, okay, what has this guy done? This is also when you introduce somebody, you usually say, hey, he's a this, he's a that. You know what I'm saying? Because we're saying, hey, here's what this person's worth is, basically. That's what that statement is. When you're like, hey, here is Canelo Alvarez. He is a multiple-time champion boxer, right? That's like you're adding this statement into the man to say, hey, this guy has credibility. We don't really do that for women very much. We're just like, hey, here's this girl. And it's because we don't really care if she has a crazy resume. This doesn't mean anything to us. Whereas guys, it is a big fucking deal. And this is where you get your respect and credibility from, is having a fruit salad. So what is a fruit salad? Well, these ribbons and medals on this officer's uniform are slang. The slang term for them is a fruit salad. And what these things basically show is that the man has done some shit. It would suggest that he did something brave. He led troops. He, did something. He's accomplished something, a certain level of mastery. These kinds of things would give you a ribbon or a medal, some sort of indication of respect and credibility that should be owed to you, pretty much. That's what this stuff suggests. A fruit salad is slang for the ribbons and medals worn by soldiers on their uniform, distinguishing certain accomplishments. So right here, you can see this guy, he's got the giant fruit salad right there. And this would suggest that he's done some shit. It would suggest that he deserves your respect. He's earned your respect. He has credibility. You should take him seriously. He's a man who has actually put some time into his life. You see how that works, right? Versus, like if you have nothing there, it's just like, okay, this guy hadn't really done anything. It's almost like the same as like a black belt in jiu-jitsu versus a white belt in jiu-jitsu. It's like time spent, credibility, mastery. Like it says you're worth having some respect put on your name, pretty much. Having a big fruit salad suggests credibility. It basically says that you've done some shit. It means you can say, I'm not some random. That's actually it. Like most guys are just some random, right? You just see the average guy, it's like just some random guy. Like there's nothing to them. They have no credibility. There's no reason you should give a shit about them. And it doesn't mean you got to be mean to them or something like that. But like, we're all, made in the image of God. So I try to be, give everybody that basic decency. But just like you meet the average guy and you're just like, he's just some dude. Like it just doesn't mean shit. You are just some random, right? You know what I mean? And you don't want to be a random. You don't want to be one of these randoms that nobody even knows your name. You want to be a guy that like has some fucking credibility on his name. I've heard it from military friends of mine about the aura that comes off of a high-ranking officer who has done some shit. I remember a friend of mine talking about, I think his name was Colonel Berger in the Marines, I think was the guy's name. And I remember my friend who was like a corporal or something like that at the time talking about this guy met with their squad or platoon. I might be fucking up the terms. I'm not in the military. But like basically like this colonel came and like he was like looking at the troops and all this shit. And just the aura dripping off this guy because he was just like had all this respect amongst the troops because of the credibility and the way he carried himself and the accomplishments he had in the Marine Corps. And so it was just like he was like floating basically. It was like he was levitating. It's almost like Michael Jordan has this effect. like people will say when they see Michael Jordan, it feels like he's levitating because he's got that much aura because of the shit he's done, the shit you've seen him do. His credibility is just unquestioned. That is kind of that thing that these military officers have because they've got this giant fruit salad, aka they've done some shit. You should give me some damn respect because I am that guy. It's basically like you're saying, hey, I am that guy. Look at all this shit, right? I've done some shit. You know what I mean? As men, we respect accomplishments and resume. We want to know who the fuck is this guy? Has he done some shit with his life? This is what matters to us. We want credibility. When you listen to a content creator, one of the first questions you're going to ask is like, has this guy done some shit? You know what I mean? Like if a fat guy's giving fitness advice, you're going to be like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So like it's a big important thing to understand that like, and you need to really be thinking about this. Like, what the fuck have I done with my life? I need some accomplishments and resume. You need to be asking yourself, like, what have you done with your life? Seriously, like Andrew Tate talked about this. He was talking about how men don't even know what they've done with their time. You know what I mean? Like Andrew Tate was talking about, he's like, I spent 10,000 hours in a fight gym. What have you done? Like for me, I spent probably 10,000 hours or thousands of hours at least in a gym training. And like most guys don't even know what they've done with their 20s. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like this is why you have no accomplishments or resume. You don't even know what you're doing with your time. You need to create your own fruit salad. That means you need to do some shit. Like you need to get some fucking accomplishments, some resume, some shit you've done. And this doesn't have to be crazy, but like if you want respect, credibility, and status, you need accomplishments. These accomplishments don't even have to be crazy at first. You just need to be able to say, I've done some shit. Like, here's an example. This would be my fruit salad, and it's not the craziest fruit salad in the world, but honestly, it's just like, hey, I've done some shit. I have some credibility. Put some respect on my name in some level, right? You know, it's like I've had a six-pack for a decade. I can bench 315 pounds. I'm making over $10,000 a month through my business. I've moved across the country without knowing anybody. I just packed up and said, fuck it. I'll give it a shot. I'm going to see if I can build this business. You guys have heard the stories of when I moved to Houston. I'm training to do a professional boxing fight. Even though I haven't done it yet, I've stayed consistent with this for a year at this point. I've gotten better and I've improved and I've stepped into the ring and sparred with people who are going to the UFC and things like that. I've built a YouTube channel to over 16,000 subscribers. And again, like you might be like, oh, that's not many subscribers. But I mean, like I think 100 million people have created YouTube videos. 16,000 subscribers puts me in the top 0.0001% of people who have ever made a YouTube video. And I obviously, like, I've got bigger goals than this. Like I said, I don't have the craziest fruit salad in the world, but at least I can say, hey, here's a track record. Here's some shit that I've done. If I went on a podcast, you could at least say like, hey, here's some shit this guy's done. He has some credibility. You know what I'm saying? Anything that shows balls or mastery belongs on your fruit salad. Those are the two big things that men respect. We respect balls and we respect mastery at things. And this is also why typically like the things that get you the most respect are a combination of balls and mastery. It's like this is like fighters. Fighters usually get the most respect out of everybody, especially in sports. Like fighters are usually the most unquestioned as far as the credibility they have, because it's like not only did you have to master this craft, but you risked your own life in it. And so that's balls and mastery. It's like the balls and mastery at the highest level right there, basically. But these are the two things you want to focus on as a man. And these become the things that are your fruit salad. And it's the same in the military, right? You get the Medal of Honor for showing courageous bravery, risking your life. Oftentimes, a lot of people who get the Medal of Honor severely injure themselves or perhaps even die to get the Medal of Honor to defend their troops, to defend their brothers in their squad or something like that. And this is why it's also considered the highest honor is the Medal of Honor, because it's the one that shows the most bravery. So these are the things that we as men respect. We respect balls. We respect mastery. Having a fruit salad makes you the guy everyone is talking about, right? Like, you know, when I remember when I dropped out of college and got my real estate license. Again, nothing crazy, but it is a resume point for me. It's something I can say I've done, right? I remember when I started talking to people after this, it was the topic of conversation. Why was it the topic of conversation? Well, it showed balls and it showed a level of mastery. I put some time into something, I accomplished it, and I took a risk by dropping out of college. And so it became the topic of conversation when I went around went around my friends or when I went to a family reunion. Again, this is like, I'm not even saying you have to have like a crazy resume here, like just simple shit like that you're doing some stuff. It just puts some fucking credibility on your name. Because in a room full of men who haven't left their hometown and haven't done shit besides getting a girl pregnant, you have credibility and respect. That's what this is all about. You've done some shit with your life. You put in some time, you accomplished some shit. Most men have no balls, they have no mastery. You have both of those things. That's what the fruit salad gives you. Imagine being a man with 20 years dedicated to mastery of a craft. Like if you know somebody like that, like my fight coach, he's been, in the fight world, he's been training. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's done professional fights. He's done Muay Thai fights, boxing fights, MMA fights. He's a legitimate dude, and he's been doing this for over 20 years. The credibility is unquestioned. You know what I mean? It's just like he just has to say, all he has to do is just say, I've done all that shit, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening, right? You've done some shit. Why does this matter? Because both balls and mastery are hard. That's why those are the two things that you get judged on, because you can fake a lot of shit, but it is hard to fake mastery because it takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication, a lot of focus and effort, and you can't fake balls because balls is you putting yourself on the line in some way. And again, you don't have to risk your life to have balls. Dropping out of college and taking a chance on yourself is balls. Moving across the country is balls. Like you've done something, right? But those are the two things you really can't fake. You can fake a lot of things. You can rent a Lambo for a day. You can fake an Instagram photo. You can fake all kinds of shit. You can't really fake balls and mastery. And even when you do, like you'll hear these military guys sometimes, they'll try and fake balls, and it's called stolen valor in the military because it's such a dishonorable thing to try and steal the credibility of somebody who actually has mastery or balls. And you'll hear this sometimes, like I think Tim Kennedy recently got caught on this shit where he was lying about his military record. And it's just like the most dishonorable thing you can do because we as men understand that balls and mastery are the two things that establish your credibility the most. And so to steal that from somebody else or to try and act like you have those things without having them is totally dishonorable and unacceptable. Or being a firefighter who ran into a building to save a kid. There's another example. It's like we tell these stories because it's bravery. This is the shit that you want to say you did, right? Imagine again, it doesn't have to be this, but just imagine you were this guy. You were a firefighter. They told you about the stories of your career in firefighting. Somebody was asking, you're like, yeah, I ran into this building. I risked my life. I saved this kid. It's this credibility. It says something about you as a man, okay? This is fruit salad type shit. That stuff right there, mastery. You've done some shit for 20 years. You've built something. You've devoted yourself to a craft and gotten an excellent result because of that dedication. Or balls, you took a chance. You put yourself on the line. Shit could have gone bad, but you made it work. Or even if you didn't make it work, you just did it, right? There's a credibility in just doing it. So how do you develop your fruit salad? You need to grow a pair and get good at some shit. That's pretty much it. Just grow a pair and get good at some shit, and you can have a fruit salad. Here's some examples of some pretty basic things you can do to get a fruit salad, right? Like drop out of college and build a business, move across the country, travel to cool locations, right? Even travel is like some form of balls, right? You just went and left your hometown and did something, right? It's like, most people just go to the beach that's close to their hometown. It's like you went across the country. It's like, it's not crazy, but it is something you've done. It's just some credibility. It's a story, right? Martial arts. This is going to require balls if you're actually going to seriously train. And it certainly takes mastery because devotion to the craft. This is how you get the next belt in a jiu-jitsu or karate or something like that. I mean, this is an obvious way you can develop mastery and balls. Weight training, right? You build a great physique. This is something that establishes credibility. It shows a level of mastery. You had to take time. You had to be disciplined over an extended period of time to do that. Run a marathon. I'm not big on running, truthfully, but if you have like a good marathon time, like let's say you run I don't know, I don't even know what a good marathon time is. Let's say you run a sub 3-hour marathon. I think that would be pretty good, I think, right? Like, okay, you run a sub 3-hour marathon. That's something. You had to train for that. You're not going to do it without training. You put some time in. That's credibility, right? It requires a level of discipline. Be the top sales guy in the office. Learn a skill. Start a nonprofit or community organization. Build a brand, like create content, like have a social media following, things like that. Get a PhD or a master's degree or something like that, right? These are all just basic examples of shit you can do to develop your fruit salad. Think about it in your own profession. If you don't want to build a business, then you need to devote yourself to excellence in your career. and you need to climb the ladder. You need to be the best, the best computer coder, the best plumber, the best electrician, whatever it is. You need to be the best at that thing. And it gives you a level of credibility, mastery, because you've done some shit and you've proven it. You've proven a level of dedication and mastery. And this is what we as men respect. Any kind of man can develop the fruit salad too. Like, it's not a macho thing necessarily, although you can be a macho guy and do it, right? Like Floyd Mayweather, 50-0, multiple weight class champion. He has wins against the top opponents of his era, the Pacquiaos, the Oscar De La Hoyas, Miguel Cotto's, Canelo Alvarez. He beat them all. That's a resume, right? He's a business mogul. He coaches the next generation of successful fighters. That shows a level of mastery, because not only were you great for yourself, but you've been able to help other fighters become excellent as well. So this becomes a resume that he has. And this is just shit I know off the top of my head. But then on the flip side, you could be Ben Carson and have a great resume too. Ben Carson's probably the opposite of Floyd Mayweather. He's not the typical guy that on this channel this channel is very like masculinity, bro talk type shit. So like, he's not the guy we usually think of, but I mean, this guy's resume is unquestioned, right? He was a brain surgeon. He separated conjoined twins at the head. So like it was like Siamese twins where their heads were connected together, and it was considered basically impossible to separate them from the head like this, but he was able to get it done. It took him years to figure it out. It took him like 14 hours to do the procedure. That shows bravery, because he has to like step into this situation that is life and death for people. Like, their lives are in his hands, and he has to make this happen. That's a level of bravery and obviously mastery. Like, he's probably the greatest brain surgeon in the world, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development from 2016 to 2020. So under Trump, he was the head of the Housing and Urban Development Department in the U.S. government. He was a presidential candidate. He was a Yale graduate, right? Like, this guy's not your typical masculinity guy, but it's just like, my point being, like, any man who just puts in some time deserves some respect on his name. Like, if I met this guy, I'd be like, yo, fucking respect, man. Like, this guy has done some shit. And you know why that is? It's because, again, you cannot fake balls and mastery. This guy clearly has balls. Floyd Mayweather clearly has balls. They both have clearly got mastery of craft. And those are things that it's just like, a lot of you guys maybe have never even put the time into being truly excellent at something. But this is something I continue to figure out the further I go along this journey, is like, excellence is just such an incredible accomplishment, because there's the level you have to get yourself to, the dedication, the time it takes, the constantly getting better, the overcoming obstacles, the like winning in the weeds and improving those little details, that like pushing yourself harder than anybody else is pushing themselves, like that kind of thing that begets mastery, the time spent, like, it's just such a remarkable thing, and something that deserves your respect. And so if it's balls, if you have those two things, you're just, as a man, people are gonna put respect on your name. That's basically how that works. So get off the couch and do some shit. Build your fruit salad. That's the big message of this video. Just like, stop fucking around. Like, go do some shit with your life. And the first thing you can do to do this is get jacked and make some money. Everything else will start opening up after that. If you focus on building your body, making some money, that's a resume that most guys don't have. Then you can start investing in other areas, doing other things, and building your resume and even more. And if you want to watch the video I made, Get Jacked and Make a Lot of Money, it's coming up on screen right now. You can click that. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I'll talk to you later.